Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, do a quick shot if we can. And in the boxing world, we'll talk about a couple of subjects and we're gonna try to do it quick. First, we'll talk about Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders. That fight is supposed to be happening, next. It was supposed to be in May, but all fights and all sporting events are pretty much called off right now, and we don't know. We can only speculate, so we won't. But that's the fight that was supposed to happen. Now, through Billy Joe Saunders' latest transgressions, we know about the domestic violence video where we're showing people how to beat up your wife, jokingly, but did it. And now there's another issue that he's had doing some kind of coronavirus prank on his friends. They're trying to get into an airplane, stuff like that, which you don't do. In some countries, even coronavirus pranks are illegal now. The countries have made sure that you're not going to be doing that, especially on April Fools and stuff like that. No jokes right now. This is not a joking matter, and people are starting to realize that because family members and people are starting to be infected. That's when people don't work through empathy. It has to happen to them first. Believe me, I wrote a domestic violence video, a book, and you see that. People when you write the book, people are asking me like, you have domestic violence issues? Like, no one writes a book through empathy. It has to happen to them or their family members before them to activate. You see it with Trump supporters. Finally, they're starting to realize, hey, this man lies a lot, right? He's been doing it the whole time, but it just didn't affect them. Now that it's affecting them, now we're starting to wake up. Whatever. But anyway, that's how things work. Well, anyway, when it comes to Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders does not deserve the Canelo fight, and he probably won't get it. The British Boxing Board of Control are going to give him a hearing, which, believe me, they're going to do the hearing, but he's going to be exonerated. Everything's going to be fine, but he still doesn't deserve the Canelo Alvarez fight. But you'll see articles now speculating, well, who should Canelo fight if he doesn't get Billy Joe Saunders, right? And I'm telling you this, I've seen one of them. It will be everybody except Demetrius Andrade or Charlo to a lesser extent, which is also a travesty because he wants to fight anybody in Texas, and Charlo comes from Texas. So there's an issue there too. But Demetrius Andrade, call him out forever. They will never be mentioned. I seen an article, and the article was like, well, if you can't get Billy Joe Saunders because he's messed up, then maybe you can move the Gennady Golovkin forward, right? First of all, don't nobody want to see him against Gennady Golovkin in the trilogy, right? Before other fights are taking place. Secondly, Gennady Golovkin doesn't deserve it either. He's going to fight Samaretta, which nobody, what is that all about? 5 KOs from 20-something fights, right? Don't say mandatory because he wasn't mandatory when they were trying to make it, okay? They made him mandatory so it sounds good now. But if you've been having your ear to the ground, you know that he wasn't mandatory when they made it, right? And Gennady Golovkin doesn't want to fight Andrade or Charlo either. He was mandated to fight Charlo, won't. Andrade offered his services many times, and he won't. And so who has he fought? He fought Chinko, who he lost to, basically, and then Samaretta. So he's, backing up, right? But Canelo will fight him because it's an easier look right now. Bottom line, right? That's not relevant. And here's another one. Jaime Munguia. That's who they mentioned in the article. Jaime Munguia, he's not a champion at 160. He's from 154, coming up to 160. And you know what, guys? I'm going to say it again. He's the mandatory for Demetrius Andrade. Now, Demetrius Andrade got to mess around and fight Leon Williams because Demetrius Andrade was hoping that his mandatory, like most mandatories, would say, hey, you want me. Jaime Munguia doesn't want Demetrius Andrade, even though he's his mandatory. He's Demetrius Andrade's mandatory and don't want to fight him. One of the mandatories don't want the championship belt. So that's happening, but they would rather have Canelo fight Munguia. Now remember, Canelo from coming from 175 fighting Kovalev, which he shouldn't have done. Remember, Andre could have been an undisputed fight on the Mexican date last year. They ignored that to wait on Sergey Kovalev to fight him going up to weight division. So it sounds cool to go up to weight division fight Kovalev, who didn't have enough time to rest. Instead of doing that, this is what's going on now. The exact same thing. We'll fight anybody, Jaime Munguia at 160, right? Which he wasn't. They were telling people, well, he shouldn't come down to 160 from 175. He should go to 168. But he was negotiating with Royata Murata, who was a 160 pounder. He's going to fight Golovkin now, 160 pounder. Muhammad Mugia is a 154-pounder just coming up to 160. But the guys that are at 160 with championship belts and major fights, we're not going to fight. So this is just typical, right? It's typical. Canelo versus anybody except Andrade, and to a lesser extent Charlo. That's what's going on through the Billy Joe Saunders saga. So let's keep your eye on that and watch those articles, right? Because that's what they're doing right now. They're ignoring them again, just like they did with the undisputed fight. So just keep your eyes on that, because damn it, I am Doma Sports Talk Worldwide, and I'm up out of here, y'all.